This is another episode of NRG Insights. I can't say that today. It's too close to Christmas. NRG Insights, and this is where we speak to people across the mortgage world, all realms of the mortgage industry, just to get their insights into the market and a little bit about what they do. So today I've got Michael Craig from Brilliant Solutions. So thanks for joining me, Michael.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, my friend. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, it's been on the books, on the cards for a while. I know it's my fault last time. So talk to me about the journey for you that's brought you up to being sales director at Brilliant Solutions.
So I fell into the industry, as I think most people do, whether there be an uncle or a mum or a dad that's in finance. So I fell into the industry leaving school, then worked for Exclusive Connections, which is technically the limited company of Brilliant Solutions. Up until around the credit crunch, I hung around for about 6 months when the credit crunch was getting worse and worse, and decided that I wanted to get out of finance for a few years and portrayed other passions that I had, which I will not get into today, and then returned back in 2014. So for those that know Sally Miles, she's our head of lending. I used to work in the same office as Matthew's office and Sally's, and she persuaded me to join back as an underwriter and get back in the industry. So came back in 2014 as a specialist underwriter, and then progressed through the career path of underwriting, wanted to get back into sales, wanted to talk to more brokers, wanted to get out on the road, so became a BDM, head of sales, sales director, and now obviously sales director and part owner of Brilliant. So in a period from 14 to 21, I think it was that journey.
Good stuff. Let's talk about that. Just touch on that, because so you went back in as an underwriter, I went back into sales. Well, I hear that path a fair bit. Do you think that puts people in good stead if they go from the technical side of the business to the sales side? Do you think that works for a lot?
Yeah, I think the idea, when I became a BDM, the idea was to go back to old school selling when me and Matthew sat down and we decided to be back out on the road like it was pre-crunch. Get a BDM out, would go into the brokers' offices and help them place cases there and then. I had the knowledge of residential and buy-to-let, so it was easy enough for me to tell a broker whether or not we could or couldn't do that case. As the years go by and as I progress within the company, I probably couldn't tell brokers what rates it would be nowadays. Yeah. Because they changed very recently, changed so much. But I can still tell them whether or not that case is something we can do, whether that be a buy-to-let, a bridge, commercial, whatever it may be. We can tell them. And I think if you've been in that stead for two reasons: one, you understand the technical side of it and you understand the mortgage journey, and two, you understand what it is like to be either a specialist underwriter or a mortgage underwriter. So you've got a bit more empathy for underwriters as well. When someone might be saying they're not doing this or they're hiding away from that, you've got a different argument, and you can come from that experience of no one's trying to slow anything down.
No one doesn't want to do business.
That's exactly it. Everyone wants this to get the outcome that we all want, which is the mortgage at the end of this process. So it's easy then to have that conversation. Like, I've sat in that chair, and I can understand why you might think like that, but it really, really isn't. We are all trying to make sure the customer journey is the best for everybody.
I found it quite interesting, actually, when we did hit that tough times last 18 months or so, where, I mean, you saw it on social media, didn't you, brokers moaning about the rates going up and stuff, and it did feel a little bit like some people maybe didn't have that, I don't want to be disrespectful, but like that base knowledge outside of the sales side to understand why the process was happening, you know? So there was a lot of moaning, and actually we were probably the ones that needed to be on the sane side of things and try and explain it to our customers as to why it's happening. But it did I did see quite a few of the I can't believe banks are doing this and that kind of thing, when actually we all knew why it was happening, or if you had an understanding of how money works, you know.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I think you're right to a degree. I think there is a lack of education across our industry, whether that be educating ourselves internally, that sit in the industry day in, day out, or educating the outer world about finances. I always tell a quick story that when I left school at 16, and when I had a bank account of a certain bank, building site which I'll not name, I went into them to change it from a passbook to a debit card. Yeah. 18 years old, walked out being offered a £10,000 loan and a £5,000 credit card that I'd not asked for, I had no interest in. Yeah. Now, luckily, I'd come from parents that were financially savvy. So they'd said, if you ever need any money, have any issues, you come to us first and we'll talk it through. But how many people have not come from that type of background? They haven't got parents that unfortunately aren't financially savvy, that walk and think they can walk out with £15,000 worth of credit. So I think there's a general failing from an education perspective for the youth of our country. And then there's also a general failing of education from top to bottom in our industry, where it's just, we talk about SONIAs, we talk about swap rates. Half of the people didn't know what a SONIA or swap rate was until it becomes a problem.
I thought it was still LIBOR. I was out of the loop. Didn't know.
Yeah, that's it. And I think we have to do better as an industry, and that's packages, clubs, lenders. We have to do better as an industry to educate
Yeah.
our colleagues to ensure that if this ever does happen,
how do we do it? Because it's not. You don't have to, right? You can get your CMAP and start broking, or you can work in lending, whatever it is. Say for instance, if you're a solicitor, you have to do constant. I know we got CPD, but
yeah.
How do you kind of enforce the getting better? Because I agree, I think there's a really low bar to getting in, and that's why exceptional people look amazing in this industry. But I do think everyone needs to kind of step up, don't they? Do you think there should be more regulation on it, or?
I think getting CMAP is difficult. I think you have to go through quite a lot. There's a lot of studying.
I did it in 2 weeks, Michael. I'm not buying that.
It's
2 weeks in lockdown. It's not hard.
Do you know what? It's a brilliant certificate to have. It's a brilliant qualification to have, but it doesn't help in the real world. It doesn't help when you're sat in front of a client.
I always liken it to GCSEs to life. They don't mean anything. It's kind of irrelevant because you don't learn the actual bits that are hard.
Yeah, so you don't get that ability to sit in front, and that comes from mentoring, mate. If you've got a great mentor around you, I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by brilliant people, whether that be in our business or that be externally that have supported me. I put something out on LinkedIn on the anniversary of 9 years. I think that was brilliant, thanking a few people that looked after me in that journey.
Yeah,
I think, how did you do it? That's the $1 million question. Workshops, education, just trying to talk about something new, not just talking about a lender's criteria as a package, not just talking about what we can do, how we can place cases. It's talking about the backstop of it. So where does the money come from?
Yeah.
How do you securitize? Well, who securitizes? When do you securitize? When do you sell a book? When don't you sell a book? What does that look like? How does banks lend money? We've got a lot of special lenders that are now backed.
Yeah.
How does that work? And I think people that maybe don't understand it, believe they should understand it, have to be honest and say, look, I just need to talk to someone about this and have these conversations. So I think workshops, education, I think that comes from all of the major players in the industry.
And I also think if you get that, it gives you a certain authority when it comes to clients, right? So you've got that the benefit is to your client. The end goal is to be more authoritative, to make them comfortable with the fact that you're in safe hands, right? That's the whole objective. It's not just to be smarter. Like the whole thing is just to make the industry as a whole better and secure your customer, and we'll make your customers feel secure.
At the end of the day, we're in, and sometimes we forget this. Certain people forget this. We're in a customer-driven environment. So customer service is key. I always say the hardest thing to do is to get a client. The easiest thing to do is lose that client.
Yeah.
So I talk to a lot of brokers that want more business, need more business, and you talk all the time about like what you look at your current client bank. What are you doing for that bank? Are you selling protection? Are you driving more cases? Are you helping with the commercial mortgages? Are you looking at bridges that they might want to do in regards to your builders that are looking to buy property, buy land, etc., etc. This goes on. But I think we just need to make sure the education is better for the consumer to understand when and why they come into this market. We've got a bit of stability now. We spoke about before. 3 months now, Bank of England have stayed, if I remember correctly. And I don't think we need interest rates of 1.5%, 2%. I just think we need stability. Yeah. The consumer can go, do you know what? It's not going to change for the next 2-3 months. So I am going to go buy the house, or I'm going to remortgage now. Because I'm happy in the fact that the market is now secure.
This is the market, right? It's no longer a tough market or an awkward market. It's just the market. So, no, I mean, always a bit hesitant about the tough market thing anyway, because we talk ourselves into that as well. It's the confidence in the customers, right? The customers come back once they know that, like you just said, then it's not going up and down at the moment. So if they're confident in, but because money costs, we had it so good for so long, like it costs to lend money, doesn't it? It costs to borrow money.
And people, it's a business, right? This is where people don't want to admit it. A bank is a business. A lender is a business. They've got to make money. In order for you to talk to an underwriter, they have to be making money, so they can pay them underwriting salaries. Yeah. It's the same thing with the petrol, right? I know for a fact when petrol spiked, instead of filling your tank, you might only put half tank in because you hope that it will come back down.
Yeah.
But realistically, do you want to go to the petrol station twice a week? No, you want to go once a week. No one likes to go to the petrol station. But you're going to do it twice a week on the hope that it comes down. But now you're seeing prices come down, people start filling their tanks up again.
Yeah.
Because there's stability in that market. So it's the same in any market. You just need stability in it, and people will come back in. Will the first time buy market be what it's been before next year? Possibly not, but I think it'll be better than it was this year.
Yeah. How do you see it next year as a whole? What do you see and for you guys?
Do you know what? I know that there's a lot of talks about a flat Q1, even a flat H1. I think you'll see January will be a bit quieter than it usually is, but I think February, March, it will start to pick up. Once we get more stability back, I keep using the word stability. Stability must be the word of the day. It must be my dictionary.
That'll be the title of the podcast.
Yeah, that's it, right? But my point is, I think I don't agree with a flat Q1. I agree with a flat January.
Yeah.
And then a busier February, March, and then we kick in. We won't see Bank of England remove interest rates down till at least end of Q2, I think. And again, I go back to, I'm not sure 100% we need it right now. We just need a stable market. So answer is, I think it will be good.
Yeah.
It won't be as flat as I think everyone has talked. But again, that's my opinion, right? I talk to so many economists.
Yeah, someone's going to be right, isn't it? You can speak to 6 economists and they go, one of you's bang on. Don't understand.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Or you all are in a different geyser.
Yeah,
like, you all are just got different opinions. And the point is, and that's the beauty, but the horrible side of our market is we don't know. Anyone that says that they can categorically say this is going to happen, we don't. We look at what Liz Truss did. No one expected that to happen. Also, we didn't expect to have the impact that it did.
Yeah, I think we can plan a bit better for 24 than we did for 23, right? Because 23 was complete guesswork because we hadn't been in it before. I think it was so tough to plan 2 months in front. I think at least now we can sort of look at our goals and look at our planning and have some sort of idea. Like you just said there, providing there's nothing, I keep saying this, every podcast everyone says the same thing about we want a good run-in. Just want like a couple of year run-in with no stuff going on in the background, no major wars or pandemics.
Do you know what? I think from a country perspective, there's general election coming up, right? So as we always know, they have to do something or promise something. Whether they then follow through with what they promise is a different matter. So that will stimulate our market when that general election turns up anyway. We know
you're looking at first-time buyer help there. It's that kind of thing, aren't you? Realistically, when the election comes. So, but again, the false promises we see every time is not doesn't mean it's going to. But it's a nice little peak for the market, isn't it? Hopefully that ploughs into the following year. So let's just touch on this because you mentioned then about kind of relationship management side of things, about making sure everyone's covered, and obviously you guys cover an array of stuff. But the reason this came up, I was talking to a BDM yesterday, and he said he took out a 5-year fixed, and he knows for a fact that his broker's not going to call him for 5 years. And this is a relatively heavy-hitting broker. But to me, that blows my mind. And I mean, how do you guys do it? And how do you stay on top of these relationships? So I think if we've learnt nothing this year, it's that relationships are the thing that keep the lights on.
So obviously, in our B to C business, we will touch base. We try to touch base once a year.
Yeah.
Whether that's as simple as a birthday card, whether that's as simple as a phone call, has anything changed, anything you need support with, especially in a 5-year fix, especially right now. I'd be urging any broker to be talking to any clients in a 5-year fix with the cost of living that we're going through. Can we help you with anything? Is there anything we can do to support? Is there anything we can do to help? Because believe me, if they need the help, they're finding the help.
Yeah.
And then you hope they're finding the help.
Someone else has been doing the legwork. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's it. In regards to the B2B business, we have a very, very good sales team whose job is not just to drive new business through the door, is to ensure that we're keeping our current customers happy. So they have to touch base once every 3 months. Even that's just a quick phone call. How you getting on? What you're doing? Quick email. Can I help?
Yeah.
And we do. I mentioned it right at the beginning of the podcast. We do old school selling. So we are out a lot. If you look at my LinkedIn, half the time it is in a pub somewhere or in a broker's office or in a lender's office having conversations, because you pick up so much more by being there, by being present, rather than being on the end of a phone if there's a problem. What I don't want our business to be that business you call if you've got a problem. I want you to call us because you just want to chat. Can we help? Have you got any ideas? And how do we improve your business? How do we make it so you can make more out of your current client bank? Because again, we go back to what I said. Hardest thing is to get a client. Easiest thing to do is to lose a client, especially with the presence of social media, the presence of what Google can do for anyone.
Yeah.
There is that element of you can quickly go on and
someone's
find
nipping at your heels, aren't they? If there's exactly. if you're not speaking to your customers, it always astounds me when I go to. I'm always out face to face. I love it. That's the best part of my job. But it always surprises me how many jobs you pick up just chatting about people's plans, because they're just talking, and you suddenly go, and it's the same for brokers, isn't it? Or same for even the B2B side of things. They're like, oh, I've got this one, or this is coming up, and I'm like, yeah, that's something we need to start looking at now. But I think, like you say, if you're always on the end of the phone, or if it's just reactive when they're desperate, or they need you, then you miss out on so much business. I think it's so important to keep that contact.
100%, and I think there's elements of anything, right? I appreciate if you're dealing with X amount of hundreds and thousands of brokers, you're not going to talk to every single broker, but you need to talk to them. You need to find a way, and if that means more resource, so we have BDMs, we have head of key accounts, we have relationship managers whose job is fundamentally just to pick the phone up and talk to people.
Yeah.
How you getting on? Who we can help with? It worked really, really well during the pandemic when maybe people didn't have other people they could talk to from an industry perspective. That worked really, really well. It works really, really well now. The amount of times we'll pick the phone up and say, how are you getting on? They go, you know what, I've just got this case on my desk. I just can't move it. And we'll go, okay, well, talk to us about it.
Yeah.
It might be that we send them to Halifax, right? Fine, great. It might be we say, you know what, we have another lender that will do that, or a specialist lender, whatever it may be. You'd be surprised. And I'm not saying you pick the phone up and say, is there anything on your desk that I can help with? Not that. It's, let's have a chat. How's business? What type of business are you doing at the moment? Exactly. How's life? How are the kids? How's the family? Did you see the football result of the weekend? And those are the reasons why you do business with people. You do business, people do business with people, right? It's as simple as that. You have to have a product behind you to sell with a good product. Yeah. But the majority is people will buy and do business with people. And we're doing that.
No one's got any, well, you probably do get some exclusive products, but no one's got anything massively different for anyone else, right? We're all in a very similar boat. The only thing that we can change is adding value to our clients and always being there and always being in front of them. I think I'm always conscious that someone is going to be busier than you if you're not.
Exactly, and you use the word exclusive, right? They're semi-exclusives. 9 times out of 10, if a lender comes with a package in exclusive, it will go to 6 or 7 packages.
Right, so you're
exclusive. Yeah. The word is the meaning is it's exclusive to one person or one business.
Yeah.
So it can't be exclusive.
We've got an exclusive with 6 other people. Well,
yeah, exactly. But it's a semi-exclusive. Right, fine. Well, I don't mind the terminology.
It's a nice marketing tool.
Yeah, of course. Right? I don't mind the terminology of it, but for me, it's about what can we do? How can we help educate brokers, consumers to get the best out of their current circumstance, and how do we make their current circumstance better? So when you talk about specialist world, I'm doing a piece next year when I'll talk about customer journey and how you get from A to Z, and it's all about how you do that. And these type of clients are clients for life for these brokers. If you can help a client get from this part of the market to that part of the market, do you think that client's going to go talk to the bank when the PT comes up when they're back on the high street?
Yeah,
I very much doubt it. At least not 95% of those people. They'll talk to you. You've got them from the
lifetime value is ridiculous, isn't it? If you look at it, I mean, if you actually concentrate on lifetime value of a client, everyone would treat them with so much better. If you look at it transactionally, this money is just a few quid when you make a mortgage, but actually lifetime value is crazy when you look at them, their kids, people they know, the referrals behind it. It's
slightly different journey. I've dealt with brokers when they were on their own. It was just them in the back of a shed. And we gave them all the support they needed. We helped them with their cases. We supported them across the group. Now they've got 50, 60, 70 brokers. And they're still using us. Even if someone else comes in and tries to have a conversation, I get emails all the time from firms going, this firm's trying to poach me, but I've told them no. Great. Yeah. And that's the brand you're building. And that's the brand we should all be trying to build, right?
Yeah.
A loyal brand, which is loyal both ways. Because loyalty works both ways, as respect does.
Yeah.
Some people expect people to be loyal to their business because their business is offering them a service. But what are you offering back from a loyalty perspective? Because that's, for me, is what it comes down to. I'll be loyal to you if you're loyal to me. And that's how we built this business in the last, probably, since I've been selling it in the last 4 years.
Yeah. I quite enjoy the competitiveness of it as well. Like, I've got competitors, and I like getting those emails. So-and-so's called, and they're offering at this, and call, you were never with me for price. You're with me because we do a great job, and whatever it is. I've got no issue with that. It's a competition is healthy. I was talking to someone recently, actually, another recruiter I do have a lot of respect for, and he was saying, "Oh, we're not really competitors, we're industry colleagues." And I said, "Well, if I sat you on my table at the award ceremony next to my clients, 100, and they said to you, 'I want to work with you,' are you going to walk away?" I said, "It's cool. You wouldn't. I mean, if you are, you're in the wrong job, right? Because we all want to, win. But I think competition's a great thing. Keeps us sharp."
I say it all the time when I talk to the sales team and they say, "Oh, I've got this firm, I'm trying to get this firm." That's a good thing. That means you've got good firms, right? You've got people that are hunting your firms. But it also then reaffirms what I've taught them and what I've told them. If you don't stay in touch with these people, you run the risk of losing the loyalty, because you're asking them to be loyal to you, yet you're not spoken to for 6 months.
Yeah.
Where's the loyalty in that element of it? You haven't been out to see them in 6 months, 12 months. "Oh, I've lost this firm with Wacky. When was the last time you saw them?" 12 months ago when I signed them up." Well, then it's not my fault. It's your fault for not keeping your side of the loyalty bargain.
That's genuinely how I feel. If I lose a client, it's on me.
Yeah,
I don't think, "Oh, that bastard's been phoning up my clients." I think, I haven't. Or
Yeah.
if they're not impressed enough with my service that I lose them, that's on me. That's not on them.
Exactly, and that's on the business, right? That's on me, that's on the MD, that's on the whole senior management team. If we lose a client for anything, or a broker for anything, whether that's a service perspective, or someone wants to pay more, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
that's not just down to that individual that manages that account, or the individual that's maybe made a mistake upon the journey. We should have enough loyalty brownie points, I call them, in the bag to phone. Yeah, we made a mistake. We hold our hands up. This is what we've done to deal with it. Give us a second chance.
I'm stealing that loyalty. I'm stealing that loyalty browning points. I'm writing it down.
Mate, you can have it.
That's going to my next sales meeting. So let's talk like team-wise. Obviously, you've clearly. Well, I don't know about your year, but you've grown a bit this year as well. You've done a fair bit.
Yeah, so we've done more than we did last year. Is
Yeah.
profitability on certain aspects of the business? So is the profitability more? No, which we expect. We've seen a lot more PTs from a club perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
Every club would say the same. Maybe that took a bit. That's by a bit more surprise than maybe
BT's keep the lights on though, right?
100%.
I think, and that's the loyalty thing again. I think the guys that were so transactional for years. I was speaking to a broker recently. He's a good pal of mine, and he's been broking for 12 years. He's still buying leads every month. I said, if you had sent out a bloody birthday card for the first 4 years, you wouldn't have to buy another lead in your life.
Yeah.
And he doesn't keep the clients, and he just can't work it because he's always had this transactional thing of buying a lead, convert at X amount, doesn't contact them again. It's crazy. And then he's got, try and get business last year when it was all PTs and loyal customers. It's a tough gig.
It's the bit I don't understand. And I'll go back to exactly what I said earlier. It's easy, hardest thing to get a client, easiest thing to lose that client. Just liaise and talk. Stay in touch. You want loyalty, give loyalty back by picking the phone. And I appreciate people watch this and say, well, I haven't got the time. And I know that and I get that. But
I don't. I honestly don't. I think time is bullshit excuse. I think I just think time is a made up thing where you can go, it's such a great excuse, isn't it? I can't do this because I don't have time. If it's really important to you, you will find the time. It's like me saying I haven't got time to see my clients because I'm so busy. It's just I don't buy into the time thing. I just think that people don't want it enough. If it's that important, you would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get something done so you've got some time for it.
Yeah, I think there's elements of all of it, isn't there? Everyone can use time as an excuse. Everyone can use I haven't got this, I haven't got that as an excuse. But it does come down to how much do you want it, how hard do you want to work for it. But I will say sometimes when we are in our busiest element, time is an issue. We had big problems when lenders were pulling rates left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
as a packager, we're doing a lot of volume.
Yeah,
and it's one of two of our lenders, and we had it on one day with 3 lenders pull rates, and everything had to be in by 5:30. That is a time problem.
Yeah,
right? There is a time issue there because we've been dictated.
Yeah, if you're constrained by someone else's time, I suppose. Yeah, that's a little different.
But I think in regards to the clients, just stay in touch with them. Right? I'm not teaching anyone anything that is new, right? Talk to people. The amount of sales emails I get, right, asking to have a conversation, I'm just not interested. If you're going to email me,
pick it up.
Pick the phone up to me, right? It's an old school mentality of pick the phone and talk to people.
Yeah.
Every email that leaves my business, whether this is right or wrong, should start with, it was great to talk, Marcus, or I tried to call you Marcus.
As discussed.
Here it is. Exactly. And that's the point. And if they don't, I need to understand why.
Yeah.
Now, we're very good at understanding our firms. We deal with a big firm that doesn't want us to pick the phone up and talk to both. They just want it on email.
Right.
Fine. So I know if I see an email come out for an update, that's because the firm has dictated that. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. Businesses are so rigid sometimes in going... I'll give you an example. Coming out of COVID, I went to our local village restaurant and I didn't book. Wife's like, you've got to book online. I was like, look, it's Wednesday afternoon, village pub, we're going to be fine. We rock up, and the guy serving is in a mood with me because I've not booked. And I said, mate, you've got 3 people in it. I think you're going to be okay. I'm going to be in an hour, right? I'm going to have 1 beer, wife's got a glass of wine, got some food, go. Yeah, but I only bring in I only bring enough staff driven on how many bookings I've got. I was like, but you're a pub. You meant surely you agree that a certain amount of your business be walk-ins? Then I go back to what I was going to... The reason I'm telling you that story is we then look at our business and we go, well, I'm not going to pick the phone up to you in case you don't answer.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But you pick the phone up in case they do answer. That's the point.
Yeah, yeah.
And this whole
I don't
thing...
think anyone's offended by phone calls either. Like, I do think that there is a... I think it might be... It's a generational thing as well, because we learn our trade picking up the phone to people that didn't overly want to talk to us. So I'm so comfortable on the phone now that people... I love it if there's a little bit of a challenge, you know, but if you haven't spent your life doing that, if you spent your life messaging people online, And it is a tougher gig for the next guys because it's just a different skill set that they haven't honed.
I went to a firm and they had an academy and I did an induction and we do bits of training around specialists, this, that and the other. And I brought a new bit in and I said to him in this room, I think there was 20 people in there. I said, how many of you remember a home phone? One person put the phone up, right? I'm only 36, right? But I remember a home phone. Now, my dad would refuse to answer the home phone. Adamant, not my job, one of my kids, I've got 5 kids, one of you are going to answer that phone.
Yeah.
So we were taught from a very early age where to take name, a contact telephone number in case we got cut off, and a reason as to why they're calling. If they refuse to give you one of those 3 things, you simply say, thank you very much, you put the phone down. Right now, I wouldn't suggest you put the phone down any customers if they don't give you it. But what I'm getting at is, I was taught from a very, very early age, if I didn't get those 3 bits of information, I couldn't pass that phone call on to my dad, which then in turn meant my dad would go, well, why can't you do it? Because I've not got this. And then he'd be upset about it. It could have been anyone, right?
Yeah.
It could have been anyone trying. I'm saying it could be someone from, didn't matter who it was for. But my point here is, when I asked him that question, one person who got a home phone, I went into that story, and then I said, write down, before I tell you this, write down what you would take if someone called and left a message for one of your colleagues. And some of the answers were astounding. It's because of that generational point.
Yeah.
They used to email. This person called you.
You've already got their contact details on there. You know, it's like
exactly
on their login.
And that's, I think the telephone is dying, unfortunately. So I'm adamant that we will continue to use the phone, and we will pick the phone up and we will have conversations. Because when you're having a conversation about a case, for argument's sake, over the phone or face to face, fine, it doesn't happen, but over the phone, when you ask a question and you get an answer, in the specialist market, that answer probably moves to another question.
Yeah.
Another question. Whereas in an email, the answer will be the same answer, but it's another email back, another email back, another email back. And all of a sudden, you're an hour and a half, 2 hours of email.
7 emails deep over each side.
Yeah, and then when I'm trying to look at case notes, I'm looking at so many emails, you're just thinking, right, okay. So for me, I don't even know how we got onto this point, but the point is, selling is for me, is either face-to-face or the very, very worst over the phone.
100%. Like you said, especially with yours, because there's so many follow-ups, right? With especially with commercial specialists, that kind of thing. There's so many different things you need to know. But again, I think that's the same as when you're picking up clients. If you're picking up the phone or you're going to see someone, with an email, it's so transactional, isn't it? This is what I want. Can you do it? Whereas everything else is, it opens up the picture a bit more.
Yeah, 100%.
Good. So, talk to me about. Obviously, we get a lot of newer brokers listening to the podcast. So, tell me a little bit about why the packaging side of things is important for people who perhaps don't have a grasp of every part of the market.
Do you know what? I think if you use the word packager with some of the older brokers, they will poo-poo the name, don't want to deal with it, they're expensive, not good at what they do, third party, this, that, and the other. And I can get on board with that, right? Packages had a bad name, but there's some very, very good packages, not just us, there's some very, very good packages out there. How do I sell the packager if we want to do that? It's quite as simple as we are just a weapon for you. We're not saying you can't place a case with the specialist lenders. The specialist lenders are so good at marketing direct to broker, which I can get on board with. And if I was at the head of one of these lenders, I'd do the same thing. But what my point to a broker is twofold. One, why not get a second opinion? Because you might go to one of these specialist lenders, and we mentioned about semi-exclusives earlier, but you might not be aware of a semi-exclusive that we have that's actually a better rate. Yeah. Now, the lender will make you aware of it if it fits within their business. If it's outside of the business, they're not going to tell you that this lender has a better rate. No. Obvious reasons, right? It's a business. Yeah. So if it fits within the realm of that lender, they will say, by the way, if you go via Brilliant, you're going to get a better rate, which is an easy sell. Then they come through us and we're away, which the service is good. The process is good. So point one is get a second opinion, is my answer. Unless you are a specialist broker, which is a few out there that deal with specialist lenders that I deal with day in, day out, fine. You maybe not need that second opinion. Yeah. And the second thing is, go back to what I said, it's hard to get a client, easy to lose a client. Don't say no until you've spoken to a specialist. Yeah. Let them say no for you. If you've gone and done all that research and you send a synopsis to a specialist package and a specialist package finds you a home, that's a good outcome for me. Yeah. It's a great outcome. If we say no, what have you lost? 24 hours? We go back to you advising the client, go, well, I'm getting a second opinion. I'm going to go to my specialist partner who deals with this day in, day out. So, twofold. Get a second opinion if you feel you need it. Don't have to. Secondly, just don't say no to clients. Yeah. Because if you say
Have you
no to
noticed
that
that more this year, Michael, where people haven't got their normal base business as such, so they're making sure that they look after everyone a bit more. So that involves every other aspect of their, much the same as protection is up, because
yeah.
all of a sudden people need to make more, and they should be doing it anyway. But hopefully this just means we'll sharpen our tools for next year, because and never stop doing it. But have you noticed an uplift in people that perhaps weren't using packages before, or weren't looking at every different area of their customers' needs?
So we've seen two uplifts. Uplifts in people wanting the support of a packager to take it from placement to completion. So our
And
packages
out of interest, is that because of just not understanding the product, or is it more they don't understand the journey of that side of things? Why do you think that uplift is?
You're going to hate me for saying this. It's time.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend
Rules.
hours.
Go on.
Yeah, they don't want to spend hours researching something.
But that's relative to education, though, isn't it? Because if they have to research it, it's a very good chance they're not fully au fait with the product.
Yeah, exactly. When I talk to brokers, I say to them, look, you're going to know Halifax, NatWest, Santander better than my guys are. That's a given, right? Because you deal with them. They're your lenders.
Yeah.
But if you talk about our specialist lenders, they're our high street lenders. They're the ones we deal with every single day. They're in our offices every day. We have online training. We have in-house underwriters, roving underwriters, direct links into head of underwriting, whatever it may be. So for me, I think the fundamental reason why I think people are picking the phone up more and more now is, one, clients becoming more complicated. People's everyday life is now more complicated. Let's not just think of adverse as the reason to use a package. Right? It could be complex income. It could be situations.
There's no such thing as vanilla anymore, right? There's just everything's slightly. There's always a little kink in everything.
I was at a presentation. I can't remember who said it, and I would give them credit if I can remember who said it, but they called it vanilla specialist, and it was probably the best way to say you have two types of specialists now. You have vanilla specialist, which is the old stuff the high street used to do that don't want to do anymore.
Yeah.
And then you have specialist, which is the old school adverse stuff that we'd expect to sit in this spectrum. If a member who said it, I will give them credit for it. And I think
just say you said it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah. So vanilla specialist and specialist, and I think we're seeing more and more brokers pick the phone up because of time, and more brokers pick the phone up because they want that second opinion. Have I given the best outcome? Because if you, again, this is before COVID. I was at an event that we held in maybe Maidstone, and in the room I asked everyone in the room to put their hands up who has a website. Right, the majority of people put their hands up. You'd expect that. Then I said, keep your hands up if you advertise the fact that you do specialist mortgages. And only 4 people kept their hands up. And I said, that tell us the right way. You're all in the same location because you've come to this geographically chosen place. You might have a few people that have travelled a bit farther, fine, but most of the time you're in a 50-mile radius. Now think, if you just told your client you cannot help with that particular specialist case, what is their next protocol? And it is the internet.
Yeah.
Specialist mortgage broker. And then one of these 4 people that have currently got their hands up are about to talk to your client. Because they're
get the rest of their business for the rest of their life.
And you should have seen how many. I had a queue of people come up to me saying, "Can you help me put it on my website? Can you help me make sure it's compliant?" Just send it to him. We can do all of that. We can help with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because why not advertise for something, whether you're a specialist in it or not? You've got businesses that can be that specialist for you behind you.
Yeah. It's about your network, isn't it? If you've got that network that covers it, you cover it, right? It's just...
We've got partners everywhere, right? I don't do general insurance, but I've got 2 partners that do. So if a broker comes to me and says, "Can you open my GI?" I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say, "Yes, I can't, but these 2 can."
Yeah. Still keeping it in your network, aren't you?
Mate, I don't want to send one of my any account that deals with me to any other business that I don't recommend. Mm-hmm. We don't really recommend. What we do now, we are recommending conveyancers. We didn't for a little while for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
We recommend an IFA firm. We recommend everything because if we don't, we've got a problem because we might lose that to one of our competitors because they're going to go find someone. And 9 to 10, it's the first one that comes up at Google you go for, and they're the ones that are spending all the money, and they're the ones that are the biggest in the industry.
Yeah.
I think from our element, what have we seen? So that's the first thing we've seen that increase in.
Yeah.
The second one we've seen increase is because we own a mortgage club as well, and we deal with a lot of DA brokers, and we don't charge as a packager. We will give the lender to the broker. Now, people will tell me that's crazy because the broker can go direct. Fine, we just ask them to go via our club.
Right.
So we've seen a lot.
Is there
of
any
people
benefit to them going direct? Are they losing? Is it make a big difference?
No,
I'm assuming you get that.
Income, as long as you're not doing massive volume with specialists, income is the same.
Right.
If you go via me as a package or you go
It
via...
literally get someone to do your case for you for the same amount of money as if you're doing it yourself.
And bear in mind, I'm not charging.
Yeah.
Horrible little plug there, but I will plug that.
No,
We're
no,
not
it
charging
makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
right? And that's the point. So, but some brokers just don't want a third party involved. Fine, there's timescales. We're at 24 hours. They don't want to wait 24 hours. Fine. So they want to do that direct. But my argument is we will know exactly what the specialist lender wants. So though you're taking 24 hours for us to do our part of the process,
Yeah.
we should get you to valuation quicker because we deal in that space.
Yeah.
That's the argument, right? But brokers still go direct. So we just say, well, all right, this lender will do it. As far as we're concerned, just click on the club and we will make a little bit of income from it for a 1 minute, 2 minute conversation.
Nice.
So we've seen two uplifts. One in people actually using the packager, but the help desk has been the busiest it's been. So we don't have a high street help desk. We have a specialist help desk.
Yeah.
If you've got a case that will go Halifax and that west, we'll send you back there and you go direct.
If you've got a high street specialist desk, there's something wrong because surely that's the bread and butter, right? They're the ones you should know first.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're a commercial lender who's got a son and a vanilla resi mortgage.
There's some quirks, right? There is some things that we know lenders will do that maybe aren't advertised everywhere. But 9 times out of 10, yes, a broker will go to their sourcing system and know what the high street will do inside out. So it's twofold. One, the packager being a lot busier than it's ever been from an actual service perspective, and two, driven on the help desk being very, very busy.
Amazing. Good. I've kept you for longer than I said I would, as always. So I want to finish. If you can give any new brokers any one bit of advice that will help them on their way that they can kind of utilise from today, what would that be?
Don't say no to anything.
Amazing.
It's very, very simple. I get asked the question all the time, and it's just don't say no.
Yeah.
Talk to someone, talk to colleagues, talk to industry experts, talk to packagers, talk to specialists, talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Just don't say no to that client.
Find a way.
Exactly. Because if something can be done, that client will find a way.
Amazing. Good. That's a lovely way to end it. Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate your time. How could people, if people want to speak to you, what's the best way to get hold of you?
You can call me, which we always talk about. Mobile is 07912 581 123. Or those that see me, I'm always on LinkedIn, so just drop me a message on LinkedIn.
Amazing. And also, all of Michael's socials and all of Brilliant Solutions socials will be on all of the Spotify, YouTube, etc. So if you want to get hold of him. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, Michael.
Thanks, Marcus. Cheers, mate.